Hey everyone, I know that you're probably frustrated by water spots, that's why you're watching this video. Maybe you don't know how you get them, you don't know how to get rid of them, and you don't know any steps that you can take to avoid them altogether or why they even happen. And I'm going to show you the answers to all those questions in this video. So stick around because I'm going to show you everything that I just talked about and I'm going to address all your frustrations. Okay, before we talk about how we're going to avoid water spots if we can and how to remove them should we get them, we're first going to discuss what causes water spots. So you've probably heard of the terms hard water and soft water, and you've probably heard of a water softener. So what does hard water mean? Hard water means that there's a high concentration of what's called total dissolved solids, or TDS, and that is measured in parts per million, and it's different elements. It's not really that important, but it does cause problems. It is what causes water spots. So how do you know what your TDS levels are? At least in our area, and I'm pretty sure anywhere in the United States, your city is likely required by law to release a water quality report each year. You can usually find it by Googling or by, going to the government website, whatever your municipality is or your local city is. And that will tell you how many parts per million on average the water was TDS. So anything above a 20 is probably going to leave a water spot. As you approach 20, it's more risky, but generally accepted that below 20 parts per million, you're going to have spot-free water. So let's talk a little bit about measuring that if maybe you need to measure something that's not on your city's website or something. So come with me, I'm going to show you how to do that. So with our Adams water de-ionizer, what we got in the package with it is this TDS EZ, and we talked about that, total dissolved solids, and this is going to allow us to measure the TDS of our water. And what I have here is I have tap water, and then I have filtered water from the refrigerator with like a Brita filter or whatever it comes with. I have our de-ionized water from our Adams system, and just for fun I have Long Island iced tea. So let's talk about how to use this little thing. They're all pretty much the same. So we're going to turn the system on, and you see it reads 0, and what we want to do is we want to submerge this into the water source, and we're going to do that just simply sticking it in about an inch deep. And right now our TDS is reading 201. Now our average water quality report says it hovers around 250. Our Adams Pro de-ionizer gives us 896 gallons at 250. So this is a little bit better, which means your de-ionizer will last longer. Then we have filtered water. This is from the refrigerator at our house using the same tap water but run through a filter. Now, filters do not remove a lot of contaminants, and you'll see the TDS is listed at 165. I don't know if you can see that, at 165. So we got 200, and then it removes a little bit through the filter, but not that much. Now what we're going to measure is we're going to measure our de-ionized water from Adams. And what we have there, and this is after a few months of use and quite a few washes. So what we have is 1 part per million. So we are well under that threshold of 20 that I talked about with getting water spots. And so obviously, and this is way above. This is barely, the filtered water is barely below the tap water, and then the de-ionized water, hundreds times better, 165 or whatever times better, and it's, next to nothing, 1, and probably within a variance might even be, honestly, 0. And just for giggles, we'll measure our Long Island iced tea, which has a 280 parts per million. So even higher than the tap water is our Long Island iced tea. So we will not be washing our vehicles or client vehicles with Long Island iced teas. So the best thing that we ever did for our shop for spot-free water, both on our personal vehicles and clients, is this Adams water de-ionizer. This is the Pro model. You can see it's really easy to hook up. It has the water goes to the inlet and then comes out to our Giraffe Tools Grand Falls pressure washer. And you can turn these knobs and that will bypass the filter. So if you want non-spot free water, non-deionized water, you turn those knobs. Otherwise, this makes the flow go as normal. One thing I really love is I can come out here in direct sunlight and not even worry about water spots as I'm washing my vehicle. I can leave it in direct sunlight. I can wash it, dry it in direct sunlight. I don't have to rush though, because I know it's not going to leave any water spots. Okay, I showed you the figures on what causes water spots via high TDS count. What happens is, though, the water spot starts to evaporate, which will then leave those TDS, those total dissolved solids, behind on your car's paint. And they can bond with the paint, and there's all kind of scientific stuff, but the bottom line is it's bad news for your paint. And it's bad news for clear bra also. And if you have a ceramic coating, none of that really is going to stop science and nature. So those water spots will eventually sit on the paint and they'll evaporate. And then after they evaporate, they sit on the paint. Usually you can get rid of them right away, but the longer they sit, they can actually become permanently etched into the paint, especially if they're baked into the sun. So we want to avoid them at all possible, or at every means possible. So next thing though I'm going to talk to you about is how we avoid water spots. So the two most common ways that clients get water spots is they wash their car with regular, TDS saturated water from the tap, hard water that is filtered through their hose system, and either they let it air dry, or perhaps, and this is probably more common, the sun is out and the water dries before they can actually physically wipe it off the vehicle, which will cause a water spot when the sun's beating down on it. So that's probably one of the number one ways. And then probably even tied for that, honestly, the second most common is parking near a sprinkler system. If your sprinkler system is run through the tap water with a high TDS in it, and even if the wind blows, or if the sprinkler head is not designed or angled properly or twisted, and there's all kind of different sprinkler heads, but if they're not pointed away from the vehicle with no chance of it getting hit by water, it's going to get water spots when that sprinkler goes off and your vehicle is parked next to it. So what I would suggest for the sprinkler systems, obviously if you can avoid parking near a sprinkler system, do that. Park in a garage, park in the center of the driveway, wherever. Barring that, and maybe it's a good idea anyways, is either do it yourself or hire somebody through irrigation or lawn care to adjust your sprinkler heads to minimize the amount of water that goes into the driveway and therefore onto your vehicles. Something else, and another way that you can avoid getting water spots, is if you have to wash your vehicle outside and you're worried that the vehicle may dry too fast and leave water spots like we talked about, you wash one panel at a time. You use rinseless wash, you pull it into your garage, you pull it into some shade if you can. So there are some washing techniques that you can kind of cheat the system a little bit, if you will, but you still have to be careful with the sun and the heat and drying, before you can get to it. All right, now that I talked to you about that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you remove water spots should you get them. And the first thing that you have that's probably around the house is some distilled white vinegar. If you catch them early enough, you can use the vinegar. The vinegar will break down those elements and those total dissolved solids and hopefully remove them from your paint. I suggest, however, having a water spot removal product on hand. We use SB3 Destroy. I'm not going to go super into depth on SB3 Destroy and how to use it, because I have an entire dedicated video on the how-to on this product, which I'll link on the left side of your screen at the end of this video. But the bottom line is, same process as vinegar. Put on a microfiber towel, put a little bit on, put it onto the paint, lightly buff the paint and then remove the remainder of the water spot. And there are some other tips, tricks, and cautions. So, if you want to take a look at water spot removals products, please watch that video. I don't want you to, have any questions about that, but it's too much for this particular video. So in this video, I showed you what causes water spots, i.e. parts per million of TDS in your water, and that 20 and below is considered spot-free. I showed you our spot-free water system and how it's so much better than tap water and even filtered water from your refrigerator. And then I showed you, if for some reason you do get water spots, how to remove them. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'd love to see you around for the next video.